Welcome to all the beloveds of God as we gather today for devotions. We are going to be reading verses from Psalm 46. I am Heather E. Clausen, pastor of Bethel Lutheran Church and the United Methodist Church, both in Herman, Minnesota. The Psalter, the Psalms, are the only book of Scripture, all the chapters that are numbered out, that is all prayer. And it is prayer that is very refreshing, very honest, and they categorize them in three ways. There are Psalms of Lament, which are psalms that are really complaint to God. They're expressing loneliness, frustration, anger, fear. And there are psalms of praise, celebrating God as the creator and celebrating that God is active and continues to be active in the world of today. And that is what our psalm is, Psalm 46. The third general category is thanksgiving. And that is the, kind of the counter to the Psalms of Lament, because they are psalms of deliverance, where it is giving thanks for the suffering that is over or the change in life that has come, a lot of different things. So these are the words from Psalm 46. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth give way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam and the mountains quake with their surging. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy place where the Most High dwells. God is within her, she will not fall. God will help her at the break of day. And if we would continue on reading this psalm, this also contains the verse, "Be still and know I am God." In ancient times, they didn't have the science that we did. They didn't have the even basic understanding that we do about how the earth is, what gravity is, how the waters stay where they are, how the mountains are affected. And they felt that it was the mountains that held up the sky. And to hear in a prayer in the psalm that these mountains would shake and sink into the sea, that's a pretty strong statement when you believe they hold up the sky, because they would hear that would be the worst calamity that could happen, and that the world would be collapsing. And in this psalm of praise, it's also a strong statement of confidence. God is our refuge and our strength, a ever-present help in trouble. Yesterday was the 100th anniversary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment. Recently, both of the denominations I serve have celebrated anniversaries of the ordination of women. Yesterday, I was able to witness the deep, profound courage of a young woman. Courage in the long journey ahead. Courage to walk into each moment, as difficult as they might be, and to witness through the love gathered around in family that ever-present help in trouble. Sometimes we face the unimaginable. Life changes, suddenly, in a split second, and we seek resources to help us through. In those times, we need the reassurance that God is ever present and is within the beginning of processing what has happened, the beginning of healing, both emotionally and physically, all the different things that come in when the unimaginable happens. It is that we then see flowing through people. Yes, some is family, but it also is larger community that rally to support when the unimaginable happens, rally to support all who are affected. That is the beauty within sometimes the horrors that happen in life. My belief is that it is God who rallies that compassion, that love, that presence in people wanting to find ways to help. And of course, one of the ways we can help always is to pray, to mobilize that power of spirit, to mobilize that awakening. The psalmist who wrote this psalm understood that. And to speak of the mountains falling into the sea, the world collapsing, it was a strong statement of what that feels like when we face, as I said, called it the unimaginable in life. That's how it feels, doesn't it? When life changes in an instant, when we are now having to deal with something we could never plan for. Never. And yet at the same time, in many ways, we can. And that is to recognize that connection to all that is holy, that connection to God that will not leave us in the midst of that, that will surround us with much of what we need even before we know we need it. We need that assurance. Beyond that is marshaling all that is available to walk through. It is why we are reminded in the 23rd Psalm that God does not abandon us as we walk through that valley of the shadow of death, because it isn't only about death, it's about those unimaginable times in life, that we are never alone. And praise be to God who gives people to love us, that we too can love, who can be our strength when our strength is waning, who can surround us with that abundant love that can flow through us to others. So we do pray with the assurance that our prayers are heard. And we do respond, not to interject ourselves into someone else's life, but to be fully available should a need arise that we can fulfill. And that is the hope we hear in this prayer of thanksgiving called Psalm 46. We are never alone. And for that, we give thanks to God today. Amen.